Hey guys, before the video starts, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
And go follow and rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Also, make sure to subscribe. It doesn't take more than 10 seconds to subscribe. You do just hit that button. And if you're already subscribed, go tell your friends, your mom, your dad, your tia, your abuela to subscribe. Help us get 100 subscribers, and we'll release Acio's rap song. Enjoy the video or episode.
Woo! Woo-hoo! Welcome back to Unrelated Minds.
Welcome back.
Hello. Welcome back.
Today we are going to be going on a trip down memory lane first.
Mm-hmm.
Just remembering some things when we were in elementary, 5th grade, whatever years in elementary. Got some funny stories for y'all too. Yeah. And then we're gonna be interviewing a guest who you guys will get to know in just a sec. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Unrelated Minds. I'm Acio.
I'm Ezri.
And today, as we've mentioned before, we got 2 new guests today. So, first of all, we'd like you to meet Hani. Would you like to introduce yourself, Hani?
Hi, I'm Hani.
What do you like to do on your free time?
I like to read, crochet, do art, watch anime or K-dramas.
Okay. What's your favorite book?
A Girl in Pieces.
Girl in Pieces.
What's it about?
So hard.
Suicide?
What's it about?
Suicide?
No.
Wow, fun topic.
Okay. What's your favorite anime?
Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titans. Oh, dang. I don't know. I've watched it before, but I started watching the last season and I couldn't get into it. But anyways, anything else you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself?
No.
She has an art page.
Oh yeah, that's right. What's it called? What's the app?
Arts by Honey.
Arts
J.
by Honey. So check it out on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we also have Karen.
Hi, everyone.
What do you like to tell? Oh, sorry. What do you like
to
tell?
Sorry, I went a little too ahead, right? My name is Karen Hernandez. I am a 5th grade teacher, and I like to go for a hike or a walk on my free time. And if possible, teacher life is kind of easy, so I like taking naps.
Okay. Respect. Yeah. I also like taking naps.
Who doesn't?
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, okay. So I guess we can go into a trip down memory lane.
Mm-hmm.
So elementary, we've all been there. We've all been to primaria, 1st grade, 2nd grade. We all gone through that. Self-explanatory, whatever. So does anyone have any memories from when they're in elementary? Funny, whatever?
I have one.
Yeah? Okay.
When I was in 1st grade in El Salvador, right? That's where I went to school from kindergarten through 8th grade. I was in 1st grade. The teacher had left the room. I don't know what for. Everybody got up from their seats, right? And when the teacher came back, I didn't make it in time to sit down. And the teacher saw me standing up. I was supposed to be sitting down. And she asked me, who told you to stand up? And I was kind of rude. And I said, you did. And she asked me, who did? I'm like, you did. And over there, they will be like, hit you with a ruler.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, here, give me your hand. And I'm like, no, I was like 7 or 6 years old. And I stand out my hand and she's like, pollo campero is like a really good chicken over there. And he's like, here's your pollo campero for standing. Like when you, actually it was for standing and for answering back. So that was kind of disrespectful. But I remember crying the whole recess time. And then my friends until today, they make fun of me because I answer back. Yeah. So don't answer back, people.
And you said you went to school from kinder to 8th grade over there?
Yeah.
And you finished school over here or
I was in 8th grade, and it was mid-October. Well, October ended over there in El Salvador. It was from January to October, mid-October, and it was in August when we left. So I wasn't done with my 8th grade, but since I was a nerd kid, I had A pluses and good grades and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So when I came over here, I was able to go into 9th grade right away because I had good grades.
Oh, okay.
And from here, 9th grade, I finished until high school and then college, and I became a teacher.
Nice. And was the language a big barrier at first, or?
Definitely, especially the first school we went to, they were kind of like rude, and I would say that they were really not liking us. First of all, I was wearing skirts, right? Then my skin definitely looked different than theirs.
Oh, okay.
And I was kind of like being picked on, and the teachers were not really kind, to be honest. Some of them weren't though, but the language barrier was a problem there. But then we moved to a different place. And now the school that I went to, it was very like welcoming, and then there was a group of students like me learning English, so it was really fun. The teachers were really like making it fun, and after 2 years I was able to exit out the ESL program, and usually you get it out of like 5 years or more. So I was
wow.
But because of that though, I was placing like regular classes with really little help from like my ESL teachers, but since I was having good grades still, I was keeping up with like high school life. But
did you like school?
I did not like high school for that reason, that I was learning English, and it was like a whole transition, and then I had to make new friends, and then it was pretty sad though at the beginning, like especially that school that I was talking to you about. But I really wanted to go back to El Salvador. Sometimes I'll be like, why don't we just go back? But learning English is a challenge, so it was kind of difficult. So English is my second language, but it's possible. I still struggle, but I'm still learning. We all learn English, so
Yeah. That's the. I mean, how have you adapted to it now? I'm sure it's been many years, but how do you feel now about like the whole language barrier and everything?
Now I don't feel like that's a barrier. But even though in college though, like when I was in a university, there were times that I would be like afraid to speak up because I was like afraid to be wrong or like to say the wrong things. And like I said, there's kind of nice people, but there's kind of rude people and mean. Like I remember some college students kind of looking down on me because they knew I spoke English, but now I see it as a strength. Not everybody's bilingual. I am bilingual, and those students that were kind of looking down, they only spoke English. So I was like, you know what? It's a good thing that I speak English. And I met a professor who told me to like add another endorsement to my degree so I can teach now at a bilingual school, not just a monolingual school. So now I see it as a strength, not a barrier.
Okay.
That's good.
Can
Can I cut you off real quick?
Yeah, go.
Honey, did you like school growing up or no?
No.
Well, you're still in school, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to get out of it already?
Yes, I hate it so much.
Why do you hate it?
There's a lot of people in there.
You don't like?
I don't like socializing with people. Yeah.
You don't like people?
No, I don't.
Okay. Not even in elementary? You didn't? Nothing at all? You have no good memories from school?
I remember my dad saying that one time I got into a fight in kindergarten. This girl threw an apple at me, so I threw an orange at her, and then I got in trouble. But
do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
You, Acio, did you like school?
I like school just because I'd hang out with my friends, so it was always fun. I remember elementary being fun. How
about middle school and high school?
Middle school I moved for 6th grade, so it was a bit tough. I didn't have a lot of friends, but I was like making friends slowly. Ya cuando llegué, and once I got to 8th grade, that's when I made my soccer friends, and that's where I kind of like
Your
stuck.
what?
My football friends,
okay.
and that's where I stuck to. But elementary, I really liked elementary. Like I moved every couple years, so I always moved elementaries. So I knew a lot of people from everywhere. But my 4th and 5th grade years were, I guess, my main ones. That's where I made my closest friends. But I drifted apart once I left. But I liked school just because of the fact of like friends and all that. You get to hang out with people. Yeah.
So you like the social aspect of it.
Yeah, I did.
It's pretty interesting.
I just kind of like realized that as I was talking about it, which is funny.
21 years and you barely realized that you like school.
I mean, you realize things when you talk about them. So,
okay.
What about you, Ezri?
I didn't like it.
You didn't like school?
I would say I liked the last 3 years of high school. Yeah, because we got moved to a school where there were a lot of Hispanics.
Okay.
And before I was at a white school, I was like, nah, I don't like it here. But yeah, the last 3 years were pretty cool. That's all.
Do you remember your elementary years at all?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you're a kid, you kind of like school in a way because of your friends and everything.
Yeah.
I feel like starting middle school is when you for reals decide if you like school or not.
Okay.
And I didn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I went into 6th grade, since I didn't know anyone, I was like really shy and quiet all the time. And only like those certain people I got closer with, I was myself, which is like crazy. I don't know. But yeah, it wasn't until 8th grade where I kind of like started being more social. But yeah, elementary.
Elementary is the only one you liked?
No, I liked all of it.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Do you have any funny or
I do
experience?
Well, okay, so in elementary I was in the restroom with some friends, right?
Is that why you always sing restroom in your songs?
Maybe. Shoot, what the heck? Well, we're like, it's after recess and I go and push one of my friends in the porta potty. No, not the porta potty. What the heck? The urinal. And we're all laughing and the teacher comes in. She's all like, why did Jose push him? And I was all scared right there. And then we're all quiet. And he like, my friend that I pushed, he like goes, washes his hands and everything. And we're still quiet. And she's all standing there like, and I'm all scared. And then he like tries to walk out and she's all like, why did he push you? And then she and then he tells her, and then I forgot what happened, but she gave me lunch detention, and I was so scared to tell my mom because she had to sign it. So I had my sister sign it for me. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Was that like the first time you got lunch detention or what?
That was.
That's why you were so scared?
Yeah.
Was it the first
I was
time
scared
and
of my
only,
mom,
or?
I think. I think I got it a couple other times too. Just in 5th grade because the teacher was a little more strict. But yeah.
All right. Good talk.
Well,
since we're talking about elementary and all that, we have some questions prepared for you. Well, yeah, some questions, but we'll let it flow from there.
Yeah, we'll let it flow. I guess we want to start with what made you want to become a teacher in the first place?
When I was in high school, when I was learning English, I really had this good teacher who really helped me. And I was like, oh, I want to be like her, like somebody that you can count on. It was this, I will never forget her. I still see her. I have her on Facebook and whatnot. We're friends now, right? But she was really like, she cared. She really loved what she was doing. So being a teacher is complicated. But then I noticed how she cared for me. So I'm like, I want to be like her, like being able to help other students who are learning English. So I decided that I wanted to be a Spanish teacher, though. That's when I decided that I wanted to be a teacher. But then once I finished high school, I was like, I didn't know what my opportunities could have been. And then I was like, well, maybe elementary school teacher. So, and it's like I can teach from kindergarten through 8th grade. But that's how I went because I really had this great teacher that inspired me in a way and motivated me. She always helped me. You know how I exit out the English, the ESL program in 2 years. I really was struggling like with my science and like I didn't quite understand a lot of things, but I would go in before school and I'll go to her like, can you help me with this? And she will. And sometimes she will go with me to the other teachers and ask for help. So she was really like the main reason why I became a teacher. I wanted to be like, not like her, but like in a way help others as she helped me.
Okay. So pretty much you want I guess, other people to be able to count on you like you were able to count on her for being a teacher. That's amazing, honestly, because I personally, not in like a really negative sense, I didn't really have a teacher like that where I was able to count on them. I didn't really put much, I guess, attention to like making in a relationship with a teacher. I'm not sure why. I've thought about it at times, but it's amazing that you're able to that you're still friends with her, that you have her on Facebook. I think that's amazing. Is being a 5th grade teacher like your end goal, or do you have a certain goal you want to get to?
Well, I got my degree, right? My degree is in elementary education, and I can teach from kindergarten through 8th grade. Yeah. And I also can teach at a bilingual school. That's kind of my ultimate goal. But the thing is, I teach I teach in Kawa, right? And that's where the last advantage students live at, I would say. So like Boise, for example, has bilingual schools. But I really want to teach in Kawa because I feel like there's a higher population of, first of all, Spanish-speaking students, which means they're bilingual already, but the schools are not bilingual or considered bilingual. Yeah. So there's less programs to benefit students. There's actually not a bilingual school. There's only one charter school that is bilingual in Kawa. So my goal is to continue teaching in Kawa, and probably in the future maybe get a bilingual school around the area and teach there. But I don't mind. Well, 5th grade, I really like in 5th grade. To be honest, at the beginning, I said no to a job offer that I have about being a teacher in 5th grade. But now that I teach 5th grade, it's really fun. Like, the kids are really make it fun. Like, I know the little kids are cute and they're like really love you and stuff. But the big kids also love you. And I feel like they struggle a lot more, though. Like you said, you didn't have that connection. And to be honest, to me as a teacher, it's really important to build those relationships with students. I would prefer building those relationships first, and then you can teach, because believe it or not, if you don't have those relationships with the students, they're not going to be into like wanting to learn. That's just it. And there's evidence that supports that.
Okay.
So maybe like your teachers, every teacher works and tries really hard, I know, but then there might be like some who are like, that's not a priority, because you know why? As a teacher, we're so told like you had to teach the standards, you had to teach them math, you had to teach them reading, and like our goal is like to teach them, but there are other things that we had to consider. And for example, meeting the social emotional parts of a kid. For example, if a student has not learned well at home, maybe they went to sleep hungry too, and if they haven't eaten well, my priority will be like, hey, how do you have breakfast or not? And that's not part of my contract. Nowhere in my contract says you have to care for the kids' needs. But as a teacher, I have that in my, like, that's going to be my priority, meeting students' needs. So for example, nobody told me to do this, but I have my own box of granola bars that I offer to students if they need or something. So my point is that I try to focus on meeting social emotional needs first, and then the academics. But as like older, for example, middle school and high school teachers, the teachers are being told to teach these many things. That's what they kind of don't prioritize, meeting the students like social emotional needs.
Yeah.
And you say when you build those connections, it like motivates the students to learn, right?
Definitely. And it's not like the kids, you're not there for the kids to like you, but you want to be there for the kids to like love learning. And that's my ultimate goal. Like, hey, if your friend, for example, if these kids tell me, I call them friends, hey friends, we're going to be doing this, and they're like, oh, I'm your friend. And then you think about it, I just say it, right? And they're like, oh, I have a friend, Mr. Hernandez is my friend, right? And they feel like you see it. So that's what I want to teach elementary school, though, because I feel like the older kids, as you grow, you don't really care as much school, and they don't feel, maybe because the teachers, like I said, are being put like so many things that they have to do, and they don't really focus on that aspect. But that's my goal, like continuing elementary. I like 1st grade a lot, to be honest, but there's a lot of tattling and stuff, tattling or whatever you say that. And I like the older kids a lot more. I feel like that's when they get to like, what do they want to be when they grow up? And then you can have those connections with them. Or I really had a student last year who said that I was the reason why they were going to go to school. I'm like, oh wow. Yeah. So I was like, oh my goodness. And this kid, even if the young kids, like if they're struggling at home, or like parents having to work and they are being left by themselves. I had a student who had to take care of younger siblings. I'm sure we all had to do that, right? Even when we were students or kids. But they have a lot of things that affect them in their school. So point being, that student did say that. I was like, oh my goodness. I did not know that impact I could cause on students. So my goal is to continue doing my best so I can support the students. And another student also said that I wanted to be a teacher like Ms. Hernandez. And I'm like, that's kind of more what makes it up, for the whole teaching job. Yeah. Because teaching, we're supposed to attend meetings before school, meetings after school, IEP meetings, and all these other things. And we're not giving that time that teaching life wouldn't be so complicated or difficult if we had like time or we even being paid for those extra time. If we have a meeting after school, your contract starts from 8 to like 3:45 as an elementary school teacher. But if you have a meeting before school, it's like a 7:30 or something. And nowhere in the contract that you're supposed to be before school. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Or those kind of things. Or after school. So
I guess that kind of falls into like what they say about that teachers are very underappreciated and all of that.
Yes.
But I liked what you mentioned about the part of you don't want to teach older kids because then you won't be able to put that much effort into what you want to do, which is care for your kids. And it makes sense because in elementary, you get one class and that's your class for the whole year, right?
Yes.
And once you get to 6th grade, that's when you have to teach like 7 different classes with 7 different students or something like that, like 5 classes of different students. And that's when it gets harder to meet, I guess, what you're trying to put effort into, which is make those connections with kids. And honestly, it's possible, but it is a lot harder, like definitely just because you have many other different kids that you gotta...
yes, in higher grades, you have to be teaching higher content. And that is more pressure on the teacher. Like, we're responsible. The education system is not the best, especially in the United States, right? Everything is about scores. So if the students are not performing well, it's blame on the teacher. But hey, the student might not be performing well because they're living low poverty, they don't sleep well at night, or they don't have that many benefits at home, especially like in rural areas, like where we live in a way.
Yeah.
So.
Can I?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So 5th grade is the only grade you've taught so far, or
this is my 2nd year teaching 5th grade, and when I did my student teaching, I student taught in 1st grade and 4th grade.
Okay.
My goal was to be, when I was like doing my college degree or stuff, I wanted to teach 2nd grade. That was my preferred grade. But when you're in college, they tell you like choose or take the first job offer that you get. But if it's gonna benefit you, like I was looking at being close to home, like not having to drive, like when I was going to university, like 45-minute drive, like that was not it. So I applied to the local schools, or like I said, I really want to teach in the Caldwell community, so I want to be around that area. And those were the openings that were available, 5th grade. And I did turn down a 5th grade offer from a different school though. Because I was like afraid, like middle school, it's almost like middle school, and I was a paraprofessional or like a teacher aide in middle school before. I really liked it, but it was like no, because like the older kids tend to do more things that are not like school appropriate and stuff, and they really like to be in trouble for a reason. I don't know why. Not everybody, but some of them, right?
No, yeah.
So when I was like 5th grade, it's close to 6th grade, which is close to middle school, so I was like probably not. But when I went for it, I'm like, sure, I'll do it. I didn't want to stay like jobless in my first year after getting out from school, so I took it. And to be honest, I want to stay there.
So the first offer you got and that you didn't say yes to, you ended up saying yes to later, or
no? It was I applied at 3 different schools. The school, this one I just applied because I didn't see any openings on the other school that I wanted. The other school that I wanted, it was where my little brother went to school. And I knew the principal. The principal there knew me because he was the vice principal at the middle school when I was a teacher aide. So I really wanted to work there, right? It's kind of about when you're in college, they have to make connections and stuff, and it really is about making connections, really. So I wanted to be there, like teach there, but when I applied, well, first of all, when I was finishing out my college degree, my college career, the last 3 weeks I got really sick. So like I got an eye problem that now I deal with, Anyways, I didn't finish on time. So I had like all summer to finish school. So my priority there wasn't applying for a job or anything. It was like more taking care of myself first, right?
Okay.
So when it came to like June, I didn't have a job. And teachers, when you're in school, you're supposed to have a job like by April. And it was June already, right? So I was like kind of panicking. I'm like, imagine getting out of out of college, sorry, and having a job, right? I was like, okay. So I was just like trying to see what I got, right? And then I got interviewed for the 5th grade position. Oh, it was a 3rd grade. And then he asked me, the principal, if I was interested in a 5th grade. And I said, no, that's the one. But the 3rd grade got filled before me. They had interviewed other people. And then it was my first interview with like 7 adults in there.
Oh, wow.
I know, very scary, right? Like the principal, counselor, other 5th grade teachers or whatever, right? Yeah, it was kind of intimidating. So I was like,
It's a lot of pressure, huh?
a lot of pressure for being my first interview out of college. So college does not prepare you for that, by the way, but it's okay. It's part of the real life, right? So I said no to I was interviewing for a 3rd grade, but he asked me if I was interested in a 5th grade, and I said no. And then I applied for a second one at a different school. Like I said, it got filled before me. And then, they wanted somebody with experience, but I was just getting out of college. I don't know why I keep saying high school. I was like, well, I just got out of school. I can't be lying. And they hired somebody who had more experience, was coming from California or something, I heard. And then the 3rd place, I applied, right? It was a kindergarten one. Available, but it got filled too. But the principal called me back and say, hey, I know you've been trying to reach us and contact us, because I was calling, when you're interested in a job, you kind of call like, do you see my application or something? And she's like, yeah, my kindergarten and another 3rd grade got filled, but I have a 5th grade opening. And I was like, 5th grade, And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I remember actually being out of state for my sister's wedding. I wasn't even here, by the way. And when she called me, and I was like, would you be interested in an interview? And it was like, I hadn't had a job yet, right? I wasn't hired. So I'm like, sure. And she's like, we can do the interview right now. So it was an interview. Yeah, it was an interview like over the phone. And I'm like, well, I'm out of town. And she's like, oh, no worry, we can do it right now over the phone. And I was like, okay. So I went in for it, right? And then like a few hours later, I got the call that I got the job, that they liked how I was like very open and flexible. And I was like, okay. So that's how I got my job. So it was a 5th grade. Like actually after my student teaching, 5th grade is the grade I've been teaching for the past 2 years now.
Wow, that's good. That's really good. I mean, you pretty much already talked about this. About the question is, what's your favorite thing about being a teacher? But I'm pretty sure about what you were mentioning about how the kids telling you that they're the reason, that you're the reason that they like going to school. I'm pretty sure you love that.
Especially, you love the students that you get like 20, 25, even 28 sometimes. Depends what school you go to. But you love these kids, not even kidding. I call them my kids, and they're not even my kids. I don't even have kids of my own. But anyways.
You feel like a mom at school, huh?
Yeah, like seriously. And one kid one time was like, you're like my mom. You told us.
Oh, wow. And
it's those connections that you build with students. And then it can be like a little note that they leave on your desk, and that really will make your day. Like all the stress we had to go through, because believe it or not, I know not all the teachers might be the best or greatest that you might think, but we work through a lot of things, a lot of pressure, a lot of government things that are being put on us, and with little pay, to be honest. Not the best. I don't do it for the money or for the summer vacation that I get off, right? Or like the summer off. It's actually, that's another story if you want to ask me, but but yeah, the main part is the students.
Okay.
Have you ever been called mom by a student, like on accident?
I got called grandma once.
Really? Oh my god.
And I think dad. I think one time mom, and then when the kid called me mom, I'm like, yeah, hijo, vente pa acá. And then I was like, you get a cookie. And then the kid's like, well, mom. Like, they always get a cookie now after, but yeah.
Wow.
I've been called mom.
How do you think if you had a teacher like Karen, you would like school?
I don't really like school.
Regardless
of the
teacher.
It's the students, people. People. Do you think it's harder being a teacher than a high school student?
Like being harder? Okay, ask your question again.
Is it harder being a teacher than a high school student?
To be honest, I didn't really like my high school year, especially. I feel like since I was learning English, right? But my teachers, like that's my career. That's like what I do for like a living too, right? So I feel like being a high school teacher is definitely more hard than elementary in a way. Well, I wouldn't do high school, just saying. But I do like what I do right now. I don't think I prefer what I do than being a high school student. So you're almost done though.
Okay. How has it been handling your kids, your students, so far? Like, what's been the hardest thing? What's been the easiest thing about handling students?
The hardest thing was being definitely your first year teaching. They really tell you have to like be prepared. Nobody can tell you what's expected for your first year teaching. You're learning everything new. You're learning you're supposed to. We have to contact parents. Like we have to work with colleagues and like meetings. Like I said, no one in college didn't tell you that stuff. So there's not a class to prepare you for the real world actually. Yeah. So, but the hardest one was having students who were kind of disrespectful. That was like last year, especially my first year teaching. And it's not on the students though. I as an adult have to understand that these students are going through a lot of things and you don't know. And that's the reason why. If you see a kid acting up, it's for a reason. They're not doing it just because they're just mean kids. They're not a thing about good kids or bad kids. That's not it. You might have different perspectives about it, but I have some college classes that like really like is the emotional part that and sometimes those kids, they don't care about academics. They don't care about learning math because they want you to love them. And but sometimes their way to show love to you is like arguing or calling you names. So that was so difficult last year. Like I almost cried in front of my student, but good thing I didn't. Wow. I got called because my name is Karen, right? A student was really struggling, like this poor kid. I will never forget her. But she called me, why do you gotta be a Karen?
Oh my gosh.
In front of everybody else. So it's a disrespect part. But I know it wasn't on the student. And you know what's funny though? It's those people, right? Or those students, right? I got an email like on August. Ms. Hernandez, I miss you. This is blah, 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 blah. Remember me? And I was that student.
The same student.
It was the same student. Wow. And she's like, I can't wait to visit you. I'm like, yeah, come over. You know, that kind of where my heart. Okay. I was like, oh no, you know, like, and it's not, I really struggle. Like, I was trying to make this connection with her, but it was just so difficult. This child was kind of struggling, had a lot of issues going at home. And sometimes, like, we can't control that. Like, I can't control those things. Like, going through a divorce or some other issue that kids have to deal with, like part of their life.
Yeah. I guess what are some of your strengths and weaknesses that you've noticed in yourself from being a teacher? Like what's been hard, what's been easy for you?
So my strength will be, and I'll not say weaknesses, this kind of be called areas for improvement, okay?
I like that.
Okay, teacher brain, huh? My strengths are like I'm bilingual, so the school that I work at, there's a lot of Spanish speaking population, right? So if I get a new kid, they don't give it to the other two fifth grade teachers, they give it to me, so I can be able to help. Yeah. So that makes me feel really proud about myself because I'm like, you know what? See, this is the bilingual part, come in handy. Yeah, I'm able to help the students now. I am able to help all of them, right? But able to support these students, and that remind me of when I was learning English. So I was like, I can relate with what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. And I am really caring too. Like I care for my students, and I feel like I'm able to. I like to joke around and with students like fifth grade, they think they're too cool, right? Anyways, and but I'm cooler than them sometimes. So we match. Like I always try to be like enthusiastic and stuff. And so my students last year were saying that they really like that about me. And sometimes you just, you know, like gotta show up and like sometimes say fake it till you make it. But like I really love teaching. Like I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't like it, to be honest. So that's one of the strengths. Like I really like it. And maybe areas for improvement is like, you know, as a teacher, everybody has their own opinions and thoughts about things. So dealing with colleagues who might have different perspectives, especially as a new teacher, I was seen as like, oh, well, she's new. Like she doesn't really have a clue of what she's doing. And I was kind of being told by colleagues what to do. And I didn't like it. So I spoke up. I talked to the principal. We addressed that. So I was like, I don't know how can I improve that though. But like, it was more like, it was like a downside because I was a newer teacher. Yeah. And the veteran teachers who've been teaching like for 10 years, they think like,
they know
some of
everything.
them think that they know it all. I will not be generalizing, but yeah. And maybe area for growth will be more proud or more confident even if I make mistakes. And you know what? Last year I was really like afraid to make mistakes in front of my students, but now I'm not. Like I was like, you remember Miss Hernandez, English is her second language, so she says cats instead of cut. I don't know. I can still hear the difference, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Just be like, let students know too that even as adults we make mistakes, we're not perfect, and sometimes we don't know it all. Sometimes I don't. You're not supposed to tell that as a student, but I just use Google. I wonder, like in recess, but yeah.
I guess so. I guess this is for sure. I guess for you have to make it fun for yourself too, so it can be fun for your students as well. So the lesson plans that you may have about math, about whatever. I guess it's always great to make it fun for yourself, so you're excited to teach it, and then the students feel that excitement. Have you done are there any sort of things that you've done?
Well, this is the thing. Time is a big problem as a teacher. Like, we're not given the time to lesson plan. We're not given the time. So when am I going to plan a lesson that is so creative? There's so many good lessons that can go, but like, if you give me the time, I'll plan that lesson. But sometimes you just got to base off and like, there's a standard here we had to go. But that was a mistake I made last year. Like, I thought but the kids were not really like into it because I felt like I was just following this curriculum. But myself, I learned, well, what's the point of moving on to the next standard if kids have not even got this one? So I try to like slow down in a way, but I'm responsible for teaching all the standards. So you're gonna be thinking like, if I don't hit this standard, when am I gonna hit it? Well, try to accommodate or find a different time. But the thing is, like, creating a lesson is time consuming. But sometimes as a teacher, we're very creative. I'm not bragging here, but like sometimes you're like, oh, that could work. I'm sleeping in my night. I can't sleep, right? I'm like, oh, I can do that with that kind of stuff. So, and my kids really like science. I feel like that's the one that we do more activity, like more hands-on activities, because it's more math is more like linear. We gotta know how to multiply decimals and like. But sometimes you can make a game like, let's make group A and group 2 or.
One thing I really loved doing in elementary was, I don't know if you do this, but it's like a paper full of like equations, and like you have to answer all of them within a minute,
like 30 minutes or one like that. We do that sometimes. And then it's about my 5th graders. Some of them don't know the multiplication facts, and I time them like for 5 minutes and see who can get the most facts, or and then whoever has the most gets a cookie or something. I have to like, kids will love anything, like it's a piece of candy, but guess who has to buy the piece of candy? Myself. And there's not like, sometimes I don't mind it, but I'm like, well, that's my own money, and I don't even make enough. That teachers are poor, but anyways, you gotta do those things. But I really like, also as a teacher, we have like development, like lessons that they teach you like how to improve. And sometimes that would be nice if we're giving the time to implement those things, because it will be useless if you tell me in 2 hours, this is what you can do and do. But when are you gonna give me the actual 2 hours so I can implement this? So I can teach it the way you're telling me to teach it. So sometimes we just gotta go, and then it's a time. Like if we were giving like maybe 2 hours in a day, or maybe that's too much. That would be like a dream come true. But maybe even 1 hour of free time. Well, not free time, but like planning or preparation time every day. Oh my gosh, the lesson kids will probably love school more than they do.
Wow.
But that's not part of the system. Like I said, the education system in the United States is not the best.
I think
we need change. Any of you want to be a governor here, president?
Still for president? like okay, that's not important. But anyways, I think it's amazing how you have to keep in mind that you have to teach this. You have this curriculum that you have to teach and stay on top of, but you also have to make sure you have that these kids are learning it. So you have to keep checking on each kid. How many kids do you have?
25.
Do you usually have the biggest class? Because like you said, they always give you like the new...
that's the thing. And then I was like, well, sometimes they were like, new kid. Well, I'm like, well, I have max numbers now. Well, it's not max number because you can go up to like 28. I'm like, okay, that's crazy. Imagine how you meet 28 needs for 28 different kids.
Wow.
That's crazy, right? But I have 25. And last year I was me, the one who had the most kids out of all the 3 fifth grade teachers. And sorry, what's your question again? I kind of missed
No,
it.
I was just kind of saying how it's amazing how you have to, since what you were talking about, how you want to put effort into caring for these children, but you also have to make sure they're learning this curriculum. But you said that your first thing is making sure these kids' needs are met, or that you're caring for them, that they feel loved first before teaching them this, because if not, then they won't want to learn.
That is true. But the thing is, like, about teaching, we had 25 different students who are like one is really good. They can be even know division, but you have one who does not even know what a tense is.
Yeah.
Or a 10. So, and that's not a fault on the kid, because some of these kids are home. They don't have the resources. Some kids are more advantaged or have more privileges. Like, they have books at home. Some of these kids don't. And some kids get that privilege. The parents can help them with their homework. I don't really assign homework. I don't believe in homework as much.
Okay.
So that's another story. But everybody has their own thoughts and beliefs. Why, if I have a student who's taking care of their sibling, when is this kid going to do their homework?
Okay.
But then you might have a kid whose parents are more, have the opportunities, and they might be like, yeah, I can be one-on-one teaching you this stuff. And maybe the kid's parent went to school. Maybe some kids' parents have not gone to school, because you get those. So, and that's where the gap is. And it's kind of hard to address or meet every kid's need. But you just try your best as a teacher, and then the way everybody is learning. One might be learning about how to be divided. The other one might be learning about how to even add single-digit numbers. Or is this difficult though? Like, how do you want to do that, right? The curriculum doesn't tell you that. It just tells you, teach this for 5th grade. And they think some of it, I have 5th graders who are like a kindergarten level for reading.
Oh, wow.
Or 2nd grade level for math. Or, so.
Wow.
All right. We're almost out of time, but I want to ask some like out there questions. All right. You kind of answered one.
Okay.
One of them was, do you think, well, actually, is homework necessary in schools, specifically elementary, since that's what you teach?
Elementary, I would say no.
No?
No, but like, if you have parents who, because that's the thing, parent support is very important. For example, if you tell your students you're supposed to be reading at home, and the parents commit to that, okay, that will be helping them. It's not homework, but reading will definitely help them. Practicing their facts will help them. Practicing their spelling words. So that's like my homework. Read for 30 minutes, but I don't go the next day and check, hey, do you read for 30 minutes? Show me your paper.
Okay.
That kind of stuff, get it? So
yeah, that makes sense.
But some teachers are really like, you have to bring it Monday and bring it back Tuesday, or that kind of stuff. And then the teachers do get mad because if the kids don't do it, but then you have to understand, why is it the reason that they did not do it? Like, why did they not complete? And middle school and high school, yes, because college, you will have homework every day, so.
Yeah.
Elementary, I don't think is necessary.
Are you required to though? Like, the school doesn't say anything?
No, that's good. That's what I like, because and that's on the principal too, though. It all depends on the principal. I really like the principal that I work with, so. But the school does not require like homework. It's not part of that curriculum to have homework. But like, say on Wednesday, because it's early release, if we don't finish what we're teaching for math, I'm like, hey, we will have homework today. So your job is to take it home, because like they go home like 1 hour and a half earlier than regular. So
Okay. Yeah.
But sometimes you still have those students who can do it. Some of them I know they can, and some of them like.
So you always keep that in mind. Like, if they didn't do it, it's okay.
Yeah,
but,
I'm not gonna go punish them or like, I won't do that stuff. So,
Yeah.
but some teachers will. So.
Better not show this to your kids.
I know.
Exposing her.
I do go out there like and check whoever, because there's a work ethic part for the report cards that I need to report on. And if it's always been the student and that you know you can do it, your responsibility is like to contact parents and stuff. And you see that contact parent thing, I had to do it on my own time.
Okay.
So it's like having parent communication is important, but it's those times that I'm like, I wish this would be paid. Like the contract hours until 4 or 3:45, and sometimes to make the phone calls is like you gotta stay past 4 or 5. 4:30. Sometimes you can get a hold of parents after 4:30 because they're workers. Why not?
Yeah.
So pretty much, if you're a teacher, you really have to, I guess, put your all into it. If not, then you'll hate it, because you'll have to work off of your hours that you're being paid for.
Yes, and then my goal though, last year as a first year teacher, I was really like staying long nights, and I was like, that was not good for my own personal health, right?
Yeah.
So this year I tried like you know what? Whatever gets done, and whatever doesn't get done, I'll get done the next day. Nobody will die. Hopefully.
Yeah.
It will not be the end of the world. And that has helped me so much, to be honest. And I've been able to find time to grade stuff. For example, we teach all day. So when do you think teachers get to grade papers? Any ideas?
After class? I don't know.
And the contract does not say for you to stay after class. They're not paying you.
A recess?
We'll have duty recess when you get out to recess.
Before class.
I'm not gonna go earlier before my contract hours to grade papers.
Yeah.
So I guess after school at your house?
You see? And
Her
then
own,
like
what she's trying to say is her own time.
her own
like,
time.
yeah, without being paid. And that's the thing why teachers are so burned out sometimes, because and they talk about self-care, right? Sometimes like, how am I gonna self-care myself if you're telling me I need to be doing this and that and that? That's kind of, it is all on the policies. It's happy year. I know I don't blame the principals sometimes because they're mandated what we're given.
Yeah.
We just need change in education. We need a president, somebody that supports education. It's the lowest that people support. I don't know why. And some teachers blame it on the teachers. Some people, I'm like, I'm no more in this, so there's no point of blaming the teacher. If anything, I would just say respect the teachers, no matter what.
Yeah.
It matter if you think they're not the best teachers. I know I didn't have the best teachers, some of them, but like they're just trying their best. So respect them.
Did you have? I have more.
Go ahead.
This one's kind of weird. You don't have to answer this, or we can skip it if you want. Have you ever known about, or has a student come up to you, told he has a crush on you?
It was a middle school one, but I'm like, that's what I want. Like, I'm staying away from middle school. So, and the little kid last year was like, I was getting like a no, you're so pretty, but it wouldn't say like a name who it is. And if usually a girl, it would be like from who it is, right? But
Okay.
and I'm like, these kids, I'm like, you're too young. For sometimes you hear them talking like during the recess, like, oh, and this person likes this, and I'm like, you're not hearing everything, right? So they kind of, this group especially, they don't really talk about, like, they're really more like kids, you know.
Okay.
I did get last year, like, I know, like, in middle school for sure, like, one kid went up to me and wanted, like, to hug me because I was, like, a dare.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A dare?
And I was like, no. And they're like, I heard after, like, she's so pretty, that's why. I'm like, okay, but no, like, stay away, people. So, yeah, I'm not doing middle school. Just stay away for all that.
I was going to say, you think teachers should get paid more?
Definitely. Especially for those unpaid hours. Like,
that's what I was
if
thinking.
the contract ends at 3:45, it will be fair for, if your job says from 8 to 5, you leave at 5. You don't stay until 6 or 7, do you?
No.
If you're getting paid, probably you will, right?
Yeah.
How about you, Aisu?
I mean, no.
Yeah. Why would you have to do it? You don't work for free, do you, honey? No. Exactly. So if we were to be paid those hours, there'll be no problem. And maybe teacher will be even happier. And maybe student will be happier. There will be a happy place. Just kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, that was...
So this is how I kind of look at it. So I kind of believe in like putting effort into literally anything you do, no matter what. And I'm sure you do. But what I'm trying to get at is if teachers were paid I guess I can say a comfortable amount where like, because you guys are paid salary, right? Yeah. If teachers were paid like a comfortable amount, then I'm pretty sure you would be okay with probably working out of your time, if you know what I mean.
I think if teachers get paid what they work for, I think that was trying to say. Not like, yeah, maybe a better salary for sure, because maybe that will compensate. But even if the salary will be worth to be more, and if you're working out of your extra hours, my point is like if the extra hours we were to turn in a paper where it says, hey, you work this many extra hours, we're gonna pay you those. Maybe every teacher will be okay with that, even staying late. And some might not even be okay, because remember, teachers are now, they have a family too, so they gotta take care of them. And I know some teachers who will stay there longer, even though they have a family to go to home and then take care for. So if teachers were paid what they work for, it will be maybe like much relief. But some teachers still work extra hours without getting paid, because why you think they really love what they do?
Yeah.
So my respect to all teachers out there. Even if the one you consider not so great, they still try their best.
Yeah. Do you have time for like your own life, like to do the stuff you like?
You see, my last year, I was just like going to work with a headache at home and barely eating, trying to do my own life stuff. But it was tough because like if I am burnt out, teachers will work all day with students, 25 different kids who have so many needs. Sometimes you gotta show up before a meeting, before school, and like teachers, we have to do so many tasks in one day. Do that for 5 days, for like many weeks until like so you get burned out really easily. But you need to have a you know what, I don't know, I'm trying to do this, but like put a stop, or like there's a word for it, I can't find it, like a limit or like a boundary, that's the word. Have boundaries. You know, I'm staying until 4:30 max. I'm doing 45 minutes, by the way, because at 3:45 I should be going home. But sometimes like I'm gonna stay until 4:30 the most, do some things done, gotta prepare the room for the next day, gotta get my lesson ready for the next day. So once you put a boundaries, then you'll feel more good to be able to do things on your own too. Because like parents, I don't know what people think like teachers don't have a life or what, because I will be getting a message on Saturday. Your job, my job is to not even check emails, but you know what? We're still like invested into what we do, that you want to check emails on your weekend, but like, do you check work emails during like days off? No. But we're just like, so I don't know, not programmed, but like
ingrained.
So I'm trying to like really have I have a life. Teaching is just one part of it, and I gotta do my own things too.
I'm pretty sure you went through this in college too. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that you learn as you go. Like how you said, your first year was very hard. Now you're setting those boundaries, which you're learning that are helping you to even be a better teacher. And they're, even though one might see them as limiting yourself from doing more, they're actually helping you do better in what you're putting effort into. And maybe even in college you did some like your first year was not very good maybe, but then your next year like, okay, I'm kind of learning how to schedule my time and everything. Do you feel like that's an everyday thing? How have you viewed that like growth in you?
Well, it has helped me personally. Like, I feel less sick. Last year, I was really, like, sick almost a lot of time. Like, I had to call in sick multiple times. But it was the reason I was getting so burned out from work. Like, going home until 7. What? Dang. My work was supposed to be at 3:45 and cut it. But there's always emails to answer. There's always lessons to plan. I can teach from kindergarten through 8th grade, but does not mean I know everything how to teach this way, especially, like, new curriculums, new way of teaching things. Maybe the math I learned, even division, I still struggle with teaching that this way. I went to a different school, right? At a different country, actually. So it was different, like, aspect. But how it has helped me, I usually tell myself it's going to be a good day, stay positive. And I read books to the kids that are, like, about being positive. I'm like, Miss Hernandez, you better do what you preach. I tell myself that, like, you can't be telling kids to be, and I know I tell them it's okay to be sad sometimes. We have, like, I really try to incorporate the social emotional part into my kids' life, because I feel like I need that sometimes too. So, and then I tell my kids, Miss Hernandez is getting overwhelmed, but she's gonna take deep breath and everything's gonna be okay. But yeah, it's helped me a lot. Like, and I feel like I'm growing. I feel like, oh, I'm doing way better than I was like last year. You know, like I feel like there's always room for improvement, and like for personal growth, even like.
Oh yeah.
So like I was never a reader. In college I had to read the books because I had to, but now I'm like telling my kids to read because it's important, but I'm not reading. Okay, now I'm reading, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I was gonna say we're out of time. Any last words you want to say, or
any last words? Respect teachers no matter what. If you have siblings, kids, grandkids, I don't know, respect teachers, even they try their best. That's all I gotta say. And I know some might be like, not better because it's not the right word, but like some might try, you might think they try harder than others. Or like you mentioned earlier, like you didn't feel like you had that teacher, maybe because they had too many on their plate, like they couldn't like meet everybody's kids, because they probably were going through a lot personally too. You don't know. Maybe they're going through divorce, people being pregnant with families, having new homes to move. Maybe the car broke down. I don't know. Or teachers, so we gotta understand that teachers are humans too. We're not superheroes.
Yeah.
And I have parents trying to email me in the weekend, like, who texts or emails a person during their days off, like in another job? Do you email a nurse during the days off? You don't. If you're sick, well, you go to the hospital, and the nurse who is on duty is gonna take care of you, not the nurse that is on her day off.
Okay.
So yeah, tell respect. That's a big one. Teachers deserve more respect than we get sometimes.
And more pay.
Yeah.
Definitely, please. I could take that one too.
All right. We appreciate everything you've told us, Karen. And
Honey, any last words?
Shout out to my mom.
Follow her art page. Honey's
Oh, yeah.
art page.
Honey's art page. Go check it out.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No?
No? We're good?
Yeah, we're signing off.
All right.
Thank you for listening.
See you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.